Good morning everyone, myself Shilokeshwani and today I am here to teach you physics. In physics basically we will be learning about gravity and gravitational force, which is the topic of class 9. First of all, what is the definition of gravity? Since it is not mentioned here, I am going to write understand it properly. Gravity can be defined as a force of attraction. Okay? A force of attraction between any two bodies, between any two bodies. Okay, this is the definition of gravity and gravitational force. It is the force of attraction between any two bodies. Okay, next, the first topic of today is universal law of gravitation. First of all, who established this universal law of gravitation? This universal law of gravitation was established by Sir Isaac Newton. Okay, see, now this law is the foundation of celestial mechanics. It describes the field force that acts across the empty space. First, the conceptual meaning. What is the conceptual meaning of this universal law of gravitation? See, how did Newton realize? Newton realized that the same force making an apple fall is responsible for keeping the moon in orbit. What happened? One day he sat under a under an apple tree in his garden. Okay? Then what happened? An apple fell on his head and he thought that there is some sort of force. Okay? What happened? When he sat down, one apple one apple fell. Okay? I'm not good at drawing, but still I'm drawing. Okay? One apple fell from the tree. Okay, it fell from the tree. So when it fell, Newton realized that there is a force which is responsible for making apple fall. And in same way, there is force which is responsible for keeping the moon in orbit. Okay, here which here the force which is applied is the same force which is responsible for keeping moon in orbit around the earth. Okay, this thing was realized by him. Now, the inverse square law. Now we are coming on the law which he established. The force is inversely proportional to the square of the distance, which is this. Okay. Now you will might think that what is this? What is this? First understand this properly. What his law states? His law states that each and every object in universe, each and every object on universe attracts each other. The the product of their mass is directly proportional and the the distance the square of the distance is inversely proportional. Okay, now what is the meaning? This means gravity is long range force but weakens significantly when you move away. If you move 10 times farther away, the gravity isn't 10 times weaker, it's 100 times weaker. Okay, understood? Now, what is the formula? Formula is, see, F is proportional to M1, M2 means mass 1 and mass 2 upon square of radius. Radius is the distance. Now, this sign of proportionality this sign of proportionality can be replaced by the constant g, why? Because g, this constant g is the universal constant for gravity. Universal constant universal constant of gravity. Okay, this is the formula. This can be replaced by g. What is the value of g? 6.673 into 10 power minus 11. 10 की power minus 11. Now the final formula is F equals to G m1 m2. m1 m2 means the product of m1 m2 upon radius square. Radius का square. What is the value of G? This you have to learn. 6.673 into 10. 6.673 into 10 की power minus 11. Okay, and whenever this you would have studied in mathematics, see here it is minus 1. Okay, minus 1 is there, so you will write a number with 11 zeros. Okay, this topic is clear. Remember the formula, and whenever it comes to write the meaning of it in some exams, okay, in exams it directly comes to state the universal of gravitation. Then students go blank. They only go and write F equals to G m1 m2 upon r2. You get marks, but you don't get full marks, because this is the formula. Okay, this is not that definition, it is a diversion. So if only you are going to write the diversion, you will not get marks. You need to write the definition as well and state the law of gravitation. And one more fact, this universal law of gravitation is also known as the fourth law of Newton. There are 3 laws of Newton which you would have studied in the previous chapter. The name of the previous chapter is force. Okay, what is the first law of motion? See, there are 3 laws of motion which were established by Isaac Newton. There are 3 laws of motion which were established by Isaac Newton. Okay, what was the first law of Newton? Okay, first law of motion. What was the first law of motion? See, the first law of motion establishes that an object remains in a state of rest or of uniform motion in a straight line unless compelled to change that state by an applied force. Or in other words, you can also say that all objects resist each other. All objects resist each other. All objects resist a change. They resist a change in their state of motion. In a qualitative way, the tendency of undistributed objects to stay at rest or to keep moving with the same velocity is called inertia. This is why the first law of motion is also known as the law of inertia. First law of motion is also known as the law of inertia. Okay, and what does it state? It states an object remains in a state of rest or of uniform motion. Uniform motion means at a fixed motion or rest in a straight line unless compelled to change the state. Okay, it remains in a straight line unless it is forced to change the state by a force applied by a force applied on it. Okay, don't worry, we will not get into all the laws of motion, just I wanted to explain, so I've explained one. Okay, soon I will be creating video on motion as well. Okay, laws of motion and all, force and all, so you can watch that. Here we will learn about gravity. See, acceleration. Acceleration due to gravity. First of all, if you don't know definition of acceleration, here the definition of acceleration, I have added a definition of acceleration due to you people. I thought if you know it is very good, if you don't know, fine, learn from here. Acceleration describes what is happening to a velocity in a given period of time. What is happening to a velocity? एक velocity में क्या क्या change आने से क्या हो रहा है in a given period of time. Okay, it is a vector quantity. Okay, vector quantity. What is the meaning of vector quantity? Meaning that it has both magnitude and direction. Acceleration, it has both magnitude and डायरेक्शन. ओके, बस दोनों होते हैं, मैग्नीट्यूड भी होता है, डायरेक्शन भी होता है. ओके, एक्सेलरेशन. एक्सेलरेशन इज ऑल्सो नोन एज द रेट ऑफ चेंज ऑफ वेलोसिटी. वेलोसिटी में जब भी चेंज आता है तो कितनी रेट तक आता है, दैट इज ऑल्सो नोन एज एक्सेलरेशन. सिंस चेंज ओवर टाइम इज अ रेट. ओके, whole definition. Acceleration is also known as the rate of change of velocity since change over time is a rate. Okay, this definition I think is clear now. Let's move ahead. See, this was a topic. While G is constant of the universe, capital G is the constant of universe, G is local property of a planet. Local property of the planet can be represented by small g, and the constant of universe, for gravity I am talking about, for gravity, can be denoted or represented by capital G. Okay. Factors affecting the value of G in a detailed manner. See, shape of Earth. Earth is a oblate spheroid. Okay, it is a spheroid. It is in a spheroid shape. The distance from the center of the earth to the pole. See, let's say this is our earth. Okay, this is our earth. I am not able to draw perfect circle, but yes, this much perfect it is that you can understand. This is North Pole, this South Pole. Okay, this is their center. Okay, it is not the accurate center, but from guess I am telling, from here, from this point to distance, from this point to this point, distance is known as radius. Okay, from this point to another point, from this, see, from this point till here is radius. Okay, same will work for South Pole as well. Okay, North Pole, South Pole. Fine. Now, read. Earth is oblate spheroid. The distance from the center to the poles is less than the distance to the equator. Okay, understood? That distance from the center to the poles is less than distance to equator. Okay. See, a smaller r means this thing is not in your syllabus, so you need not understand this, just understand this thing. A smaller r means a larger g. Okay, therefore g is maximum at the poles. G means g is the gravitational force, it is maximum at the poles. Gravitational force is the maximum at poles. Now, altitude, as you go higher, the formula becomes, formula you need not to learn, it is not in the syllabus. As the denominator increase, g decrease. Okay, means as you go higher, As the denominator increases, as you go downwards, gravity increases. Okay, as you go downwards, gravity increases. Depth, as you go into the earth, for example, this is earth and you are here. Into earth, you are going to depth of earth. Okay, the mass of earth above, the mass of earth above will no longer pull you down. Okay, the mass of the earth above you no longer pulls you down. At the center of the earth, at the center of the earth, like here, the mass acting on you is zero. Okay, when you reach center of the earth, the mass acting on you is zero. So gravity is also zero. So gravity is also zero. These things you need to learn. Some formulas were there in between which are of no use of yours. For example, this. These are not of your use, but you need to learn the statement which is mentioned. Okay, this thing is clear. If not, then again I am explaining in short form. The shape of earth is spheroid. The distance from the center to the pole is less than distance of from the center to equator is an imaginary line which passes through the continent. Okay, this you might have studied in geography and all. Okay, it is the imaginary line which passes through the countries and all. Okay, now therefore G is maximum at the poles. Why the gravitational force is maximum at the poles? Why? Because the distance from the poles is less than the distance of the equator. Okay, understood? Altitude. As you go higher, the formula becomes this, which is not of your use. Okay, which is not of your use. As the denominator increases, means as you go down, gravity also increases, means as much you go up, जितना ऊपर जाओगे उतनी gravity में increase होगा. ओके जितना तुम नीचे जाओगे एज मच यू विल गो डाउन उतना ग्रेविटी में डिक्रीज होगा. ओके डिक्रीज होगा. डेप्थ एज यू गो इनटू द अर्थ. डेप्थ मींस अर्थ के अंदर तुम जितना जाते जाओगे जितना तले में चले जाते हो नीचे जितना तुम जाते रहोगे. द मास ऑफ द अर्थ अबव यू नो लॉन्गर पुल्स यू डाउन. ओके जब तुम अर्थ में जाओगे तो तुम्हारे ऊपर मास होती है विल नो लॉन्गर पुल यू. द मास एक्टिंग ऑन यू एट द सेंटर ऑफ द अर्थ. अर्थ के सेंटर पे जो मास तुम पे एक्ट करेगी वो होगी जीरो. तो ग्रेविटी भी क्या हो जाएगी जीरो. ओके नाउ मास वर्सेस वेट. व्हाट इज द डिफरेंस बिटवीन मास एंड वेट? दिस आई हैव इवन एक्सप्लेन इन माय प्रीवियस वीडियो. if not you have not watched that video, please go and watch that. Okay, that is based on elements and compound, that is divided into two parts. This video is also divided into two parts, part 1 and part 2. In this I will be explaining you some part, and in the another video I will be explaining you some part. Okay, don't forget to watch part 2 as well. Okay, see, mass versus weight difference. Mass, the measure of an object resistance to acceleration, inertia. Okay, it is a scalar quantity that does not change. Okay, resistance means when an object is in rest. Acceleration means when it comes to move. Okay, understood? So this is measured by mass, or you can simply say mass is the amount of matter contained in an object. It is a scalar quantity. Scalar quantity means it never changes. Weight, the gravitational pull. Okay, weight can be defined as the force acted by gravity on an object. It is a vector quantity. Acceleration is also a vector quantity. Okay, which acts toward the center of the planet. Okay, on the moon. Since the moon's mass is 1 by 100 and radius is 1 by 4 of Earth's, substituting into the gravity formula shows moon. This again formula is not of your this. If you want to learn, you can learn this on the moon, but if not, then it is not of your course. But still, let me read it for you. Since the moon's mass is 1 upon 100 radius, 1 upon 4 of Earth substituting. मतलब ये असली में उसका मास नहीं, अर्थ के कंपेयर में उसका मास 1 अपॉन 100 है और रेडियस 1/4 है. ओके, और फिर उसका ये उन्होंने फॉर्मूला बना दिया है. पर आपको सिर्फ इतना ध्यान रखना है कि मून की मास अर्थ के कंपेयर में 1/100 है और रेडियस 1/4 है. किसके कंपेयर में? मून के कंपेयर में. ठीक है. अब side based question, there are some questions which I had arranged for you. Their answers are also there and questions are also there. If you want to solve, you can take the screenshot and solve it later. What is the source of centripetal force that keeps the moon in orbit? See, for those who don't know what is centripetal force, what is the source of centripetal force? For those who don't know what is centripetal force, see, I wanted to explain centripetal force in my next video, but since the question is there, I will explain it now. Okay, I will be explaining you this topic now, but in the next chapter as well. In the next chapter as well, I will be explaining you this. Okay, see, it is the force that causes acceleration. You can just say the force that causes this acceleration and keeps the body moving around a circular path. Okay, this force is called centripetal force. Which force is called centripetal force? The force that causes acceleration and keeps the body moving in the circular path acting towards the center is called centripetal force. Detailed manner. In next slide, in next video I will be explaining in a very detailed manner. But I just explained the definition. Here it is not asking definition of centripetal force. It is asking what is the source of centripetal force. Centripetal का source क्या होता है? वहाँ से कहाँ से generate होता है? So the gravitational force of Earth provides necessary centripetal force. Okay. Question. It is one to two parts. This question. Okay. That keeps the one question is only there. See, now what is it mentioned? The gravitational force of the earth provides necessary centripetal force. Without this pull, the moon would fly in a straight tangential direction. Okay. अगर ये फोर्स नहीं होगा तो मून फ्लाई कर देगा. अभी सोचा है कि अर्थ है ना, नहीं रुको थोड़ा, अर्थ है इतनी बड़ी, उसके ऑर्बिट है ना, उसमें मून चक्कर ही क्यों लगाता है, उसमें गिर क्यों नहीं जाता? अब ये बात तो आप लोगों ने पढ़ी होगी कि जब ग्रेविटी तो तब लगती है जब दोनों ऑब्जेक्ट फोर्स लगाते हैं. एक साइडेड फोर्स काम नहीं करता है, दोनों को फोर्स लगाना होता है. तो जैसे ये है अर्थ, ये है मून. अब अर्थ तो मून पे फोर्स लगा रही है तो मून भी लगाता होगा. तो अर्थ के फोर्स लगाने में तो मून मूव कर रहा है ना. लेकिन मून के फोर्स लगाना, समझो इसने 10 न्यूटन का फोर्स लगाया, इसने भी 10 न्यूटन का फोर्स लगाया, सेम ही का लगाएंगे, दोनों सेम का फोर्स लगाएंगे. इतना तो क्लियर होगा. ठीक है. और ये न्यूटन के थर्ड लॉ में मेंशन किया गया है क्या, कि जब आप किसी भी ऑब्जेक्ट पर फोर्स लगाएंगे तब वो खाली बैठा नहीं रहेगा, वो भी इक्वल एंड अपोजिट फोर्स लगाएगा. ओके. तो यहाँ भी आप अर्थ मून पे फोर्स करेंगे 10 न्यूटन, तो मून भी उस पर 10 न्यूटन का फोर्स लगाएगा. तो अर्थ के फोर्स लगाने पर तो मून मूव कर रहा है, लेकिन मून के फोर्स लगाने पर अर्थ क्यों नहीं मूव कर रहा? क्यों? क्योंकि अर्थ की मास मून से ज़्यादा है, मून की मास कम है, इसलिए मून एक ऑर्बिट में चल रहा है. अर्थ की मास ज़्यादा है इसलिए वो नहीं हिल रही. समझ में आया? तो इसलिए जब ये उसके ऑर्बिट में मूव करता है अर्थ के, तो क्या होता है, बीच में सेंट्रिपेटल फोर्स काम करता है जो इस ऑब्जेक्ट को फिक्स सर्कुलर पाथ पे मूविंग रखता है फ्रॉम द सेंटर से. अब why is the gravitational constant called universal? देखो, ऐसे गिव रीजंस, फिल इन द ब्लैंक्स, ये बहुत सारे क्वेश्चन आते हैं. तो देखो, बिकॉज पहले ही पूरा लिख दोगे, द ग्रेविटेशनल कांस्टेंट इज कॉल्ड यूनिवर्सल. ठीक है. बिकॉज इट इज डिपेंडेंट ऑफ द मीडियम पे डिपेंडेंट, जो कि एयर, वाटर, वैक्यूम. temperature or the nature of the bodies. Okay, इट इज इंडिपेंडेंट ऑफ द, अच्छा ये मीडियम जैसे एयर वाटर वैक्यूम टेम्परेचर और द नेचर बॉडीज पे डिपेंड नहीं करती, ये इंडिपेंडेंट है, ठीक है। इसकी वैल्यू हमें कहीं भी जाओ सेम ही रहेगी, जो कि 6.67 इंटू 10⁻⁻11 अक्रॉस द एंटायर यूनिवर्स। पूरे यूनिवर्स के अक्रॉस इसकी वैल्यू सेम ही रहेगी, और ये मीडियम पे जैसे एयर वाटर टेम्परेचर इन सब पे डिपेंड ही नहीं करती है, ठीक है। ओके, क्वेश्चन 3, if earth attracts an apple, why does the apple move towards the earth and earth not towards the apple? यही अभी मैंने आपको बताया कि अर्थ मून पे लगाता है, मून अर्थ पे लगाती है फोर्स, तो क्यों नहीं होता, क्योंकि अर्थ की बात ज़्यादा है। पर देख लो, अकॉर्डिंग टू न्यूटन सेकेंड लॉ में थर्ड लॉ में, द फोर्स ऑन बोथ इज इक्वल, हाउएवर अर्थ मास इज 6 टाइम्स, वही मतलब वही बात है कि यहाँ पे आपको मास मेंशन की गई है, जो कि 6 टाइम्स 10⁻⁻24 अर्थ की मास है 6। क्या है अर्थ की मास? अर्थ की मास है 6⁻10 नहीं 6 टाइम्स 10, मतलब 6 इंटू 10 है ना पावर, भाई मतलब यहाँ पे अर्थ की मास दी गई, इट इज मासिव, क्यों? क्योंकि इसकी मास ज़्यादा है। दिस मेक्स दिस एक्सेलरेशन सो इनक्रेडिबली, मतलब क्या होता है, एप्पल की मास कम है, अर्थ की मास ज़्यादा है, एप्पल की मास कम है, अर्थ की मास ज़्यादा है, इसीलिए फोर्स लग रहा है। कौन मूव कर, अर्थ और एप्पल, क्यों? क्योंकि एप्पल की मास कम है। फोर्थ क्वेश्चन एक न्यूमेरिकल है, एन ऑब्जेक्ट हैज मास ऑफ 10 kg, व्हाट इज इट्स वेट ऑन अर्थ एंड ऑन द मून। तो सबसे पहले अर्थ पे वेट कितना हो जाएगा, m/टाइम्स g, मतलब 10 टाइम्स 9.8। यहाँ पे आपको लर्न करना पड़ेगा ये सब न्यूमेरिकल आपकी अगली वीडियो में आएंगे। डोंट सॉल्व इट राइट नाउ, नेक्स्ट वीडियो का ही पार्ट है, पर आगे आता है तो कर सकते हैं, मैं अभी नहीं करा रहा क्योंकि आगे वीडियो में आएगा। फ्री फॉल मैंने आपको समझाया नहीं अभी, मैं भी नहीं बता सकता, क्यों? क्योंकि मैंने आपको भी समझाया नहीं, ऐसे बता दूंगा तो कोई बच्चे कहेंगे सर आपने तो समझाया नहीं, आई कांट टेल राइट नाउ, इन नेक्स्ट वीडियो आई विल बी टेलिंग what happens to the force between two objects if distance between them is doubled. This is not, again I will be explaining in the next video. Okay, fourth, fifth, and sixth, these numerical will be repeated in the next video. Now blanks slide concept. See, fluid mechanics, working of fluid under gravity. How do fluid work under gravity? Pressure in fluid. Fluids exert pressure in all direction. What are fluids? Fluids refer to liquid. They can flow in all direction and exert pressure in all direction. Buoyancy. The upward force. An object sinks if its density is greater than the fluid's density. Okay. See what? कभी आपने सोचा है कि जैसे ये पानी है ना, ये पानी है, इसके ऊपर बोट फ्लोट ही क्यों करती है? इसके ऊपर बोट फ्लोट ही क्यों करती है ना? ये डूबती क्यों नहीं ना? डूबती क्यों नहीं है? डूब भी सकती है क्योंकि डेंसिटी ज़्यादा होगी, नहीं, इसमें ब्यूएंसी काम कर रही है ना। क्या करती है देखो, वाटर भी अपना प्रेशर एक्सर्ट कर रहा है, शिप भी अपने प्रेशर एक्सर्ट करिए, ये प्रेशर एक्सर्ट करने में ही वो शिप अपना फ्लोट होती रहती है, ठीक है, इतना बताया। अब आर्किमिडीज प्रिंसिपल देखो, द बुoyant फोर्स इक्वल्स टू वेट ऑफ द फ्लूइड डिसेबल्ड, दैट इज व्हाई अ मासिव स्टील शिप फ्लोट्स, इट इज हॉलो एंड डिसेबल्स द वेट ऑफ वाटर इक्वल टू इट्स ओन वेट, ठीक है। वही बात इसमें यहाँ पे और अच्छे समझाई गई है, पर ये फॉर्मूला याद करना है आपको, द बुoyant force equals to the weight of the fluid displaced. Okay, I hope now this topic of gravitation force is clear to you. In the next video I will give all the numericals and the left one topics. Okay, some numericals of other topic which are to be covered in the another video were given here. Don't worry, those uh, numericals will also be there with the new topics. Okay, so my work is done. It's your work to revise. Thank you. Bye.